criminals are always in front. You only make laws to cover the, not to catch up, but to cover the gaps or the grounds.
That's an interesting one. Now, the supplementary elections that we had, specifically down to Adamawa now, because Nigerians have been shocked and taken aback by the drama that played out in Adamawa. Elections were going on, and the supplementary elections, in the first instance, there was only one local government, Fafuri, that was contentious. And then suddenly we heard that the so-called supplementary elections were going to take place in so many local governments.
10, about
10, you know.
About 10.
Now, as that one was going on, we had that coalition was suspended. And suddenly, the resident electoral commissioner for the state made an appearance in company of security agents, the commissioner of police and probably the DSS. They made an appearance. And the man declared a candidate the winner. He did not even quote figures. He just declared a winner. And people, and then of course we had Abuja. Abuja responded, saying, no, that is illegal. But people say, election results have been declared. We saw the candidate who was declared rushed to court, that she should be granted, that elections have been, results have been declared. It is now a matter of going to tribunal or court. What are the processes?
The processes, you know, when you look at it, all we are saying is this. What happened is when elections are conducted, they are conducted at the unit level. That's
polling unit level.
All right. That is where any election process begins from. The people go to their respective polling units where they are registrants. That means where they registered. And they exercise their franchise. From there, the presiding officer, who is in charge, who is the overall boss at the unit, after votes have been sorted out and counted, will release the result publicly. Everybody goes home. The process begins that day. From there, they move to what they call Ward Coalition Center, where they have Ward Coalition Officer that will collate, that may add up all the votes from the respective units within that particular registration area, which we know to be the ward. Yeah. They call it registration area, array in their own INEC parlance. Okay. But in the common parlance, it is called ward. Electorate know that to be their ward. When results from respective within that particular registration area, when votes are collated, or votes from the units, no matter the number of units, then they move to what they call local government. From there, you have returning officer. The designation changes from coalition officer to returning
at the local
government. And from the local government area level, you move to the state. It is then called, if it is maybe governorship or even a presidential election, you move. But if it were to be State House of Assembly, they have their state constituency returning officer. If it were to be House of Representatives, you move to the federal constituency, and it is called Federal Constituency Returning Officer. If it were to be senatorial, you move to Senatorial Coalition Headquarters, and the designation is still returning officer for that particular senatorial district. But if it were to be state, you move to the state, and you have returning officer. Who is a returning officer? Returning officer is the one designated by INEC to collate all the results and make an announcement of anybody who wins that particular contest. It is already designated. The INEC had appointed and designated that officer. That is his duty. Resident electoral commissioners are appointed. They are appointed based on the constitutional provisions. The president will recommend respective individuals to the National Assembly, who will do the confirmation by calling them to their chamber, and the Senate does that. The Senate will call individual, ask questions if it's fit and if is fit to occupy that office. Subsequently thereafter, is sent to after the confirmation, the list will be sent to the president, who will now appoint them
after
confirmation from the Senate.
All right.
So if you want to remove such an officer, the president will also send his own recommendation to the National Assembly that this person has to be removed.
All right. Now
And that is that, by the way. But the resident electoral commissioner will now be guiding or aiding the designated individual who is so designated to be the returning officer. That means if you do anything outside that, you are usurping his power. And where does that returning officer derive his power from? If you look at, you did make mention of three things: the guidelines and the manual,
yes,
the Electoral Act,
yes, sir,
and even the Constitution, yes, where all those previously mentioned derive their power from. And I particularly refer our listeners to the third schedule of the Constitution, 1999 as amended. You look at paragraph F, section 15, where it says the commission shall have power to undertake, to organize, and supervise elections. These three words, well underlined, shall have power to undertake, organize, and supervise the election. You remember you said something, you made mention of that. What happened in Adamawa? Somebody made an announcement. I will refer our listeners to section 149 of the 2022 Electoral Act. I will read it out here. It's not something I can quote often. You know what happened? After that declaration by the resident electoral officer or commissioner, who was never and is never designated to do that job, was done, supervision, the supervisory role of INEC from Abuja came and said, no, that is the power. Supervisory role. But that is one. And I said this particular section of the Constitution had that to be contested even to the Supreme Court level. And that explanation had been given. The way INEC conducts itself vis-a-vis within the confinement of law or within the precept of law is what it is. You can't dictate to INEC how to do it.
You can go and argue it in court.
No, it has been argued and Supreme Court has said so. I remember this was tested when the National Assembly said the order of election, that they didn't want the presidential election to go with the National Assembly election. So the next thing is that they even told INEC how to go about it. This was contested to Supreme Court. That is when that particular line of constitution, that provision, was interpreted to them. Come, you cannot dictate to INEC. If INEC says today, all the 5 elections will be held the same day, so be it.
Shall undertake, organize,
and supervise. So be it. So be it. If by tomorrow or the next election, come 2027, if we are all alive, INEC says all elections will be conducted the same day. So that means the presidential, senatorial, House of Representatives, governorship, and House of Assembly election. So be it. You can't just make law or amend the Electoral Act to say that we'll have presidential one day, senatorial another day, House of Representative another day, governorship another day, and House of Assembly another day. If the umpire, that is INEC, decides to do so, so be it. Nobody can dictate to INEC.
Constitutional provision.
That is it. It's so clear. So on the basis of this, you can also, when you do anything to subvert that, that means you are working against the Constitution. I said something interesting is in the Electoral Act.
Yes, you said you were going to quote to.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I just discovered it when I was coming, and I found out that it will be of interest to, in fact, that what happened to should be to the extent that people will be willing to say that the declaration should, maybe that was why Binani went to court, to say that what has happened has happened. Once you have declared by what happened, then that declaration should hold. Section 149 said, irrespective of whatever you have done, it is only contestable. It can only be contested in the court of law. That means if that declaration, if INEC had said, at Abuja had said, the deed had been done, so be it. Or you can only, if in theory, can only go to court to contest that. Section 149. So we need to be conversant with, yes, we need to be conversant with people who ask, why did she go to court?
Now,
maybe our council relies so much on that provision. That was why.
Now, is that not what they were relying on? The INEC rec, a retired permanent secretary, high-ranking government official, a lawyer to boot, and he went ahead and did that. Is he not conversant with his duty? Is he not conversant with the legal provisions of the Electoral Act, of the Constitution in this regard, knowing fully well that the law prescribes that anybody that goes out to make announcement of results that are not legal risk 36 months. Why would he do such a thing?
That section of the Electoral Act I spoke about, yes, talks about validation. That is the marginal note. It said, notwithstanding any other provisions of this act, any defect or error arising from any actions taken by an official of the commission in relation to any notice, form, or document made or given, or other things done by that official in pursuance of the provision of the Constitution or of this act, or any rules made thereunder, remains valid unless otherwise challenged and declared invalid by a competent court of law or tribunal.
Was the rec banking on that?
No, it could be. Those who gave the rec the imprimatur or the authority to go and do that could have gone through this, and this is subject to interpretation and the rule of the court. That means they could have read this and said, this is a place we can hide under. Just go and make that declaration. This provision will cover out.
Equally headed to court.
No, you see, that is it. You understand?
To enforce.
And you know what happened again? And what I didn't tell people, the woman is also an accessory after fact.
How do you mean?
Accessory after fact. She made an acceptance speech.
Where she was announced?
No, she made an acceptance speech.
She was
when no, the question is
the rec announced her.
No, the rec was not designated to announce.
What if she didn't know?
Who does not know? Are you telling me you are in politics, you don't know the rules, at least to a certain extent?
It is INEC.
And so what?
It is INEC.
Why would Adamawa be different from all other 35 states? All other 35 states, REC, that means Resident Electoral Commissioners, did not announce the winner. The winners were announced by designated returning officers. Are
you serious that she could be an accessory?
No, she is. If she's charged, I've also told people that she should be. Also, not all of them, not only the REC is at fault or is guilty, allegedly. All others. The commissioner of police that followed the REC to where he made the announcement, Even if the DSS director
What
was there.
what if he was not informed of the intention of the wreck?
No, no. Why did the IG? Why did the IG have to recall him? He recalled him because he is guilty, absolutely. In the face of it, let him write his report.
These are very serious issues you are raising.
No,
here.
ignorantia juris non excusa. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. That is what the law
By
says.
merely sitting down there.
No, you are ignorant. You are an accessory.
Are we likely to see the law, the full weight of the law coming down in this regard?
I pray it does. I pray it
Why
does.
do we need to pray about that?
No, because this is not your country and my country, Nigeria. We know what happens.
Criminal conduct has been alleged.
Yes.
And of course, INEC wrote to the presidency, wrote the SGF, and the IGP.
SGF take that one out because the correspondence between any person and the presidency has to pass through. That is why SGF has nothing to do with it. It's just for the SGF to bring that into the notice of the president. And I did explain ab initio that the president that has the authority or the powers to make recommendation to the National Assembly for National Assembly to make confirmation of those individuals who are going to be appointed into those offices. Also, the president also has that right to say, I want to remove, or I want this person removed based on certain things.
Does he have to be removed before he's prosecuted?
No, yes, that is what the law says.
He has to be removed before prosecuted?
Those is part of it. It's a process.
Okay.
Let's say it's a process.
Okay.
And you cannot subvert the process. The process is there.
Because he committed the alleged crime.
Even if he's arrested now, he's put in custody, pending investigation, the other processes will have to what? Will have to go on. It does not have to be working freely because the police have to, if the police want to do their job, let the police invite him and the police will question him. Investigation, let us know to what extent are people involved. Even that person that made an acceptance speech, knowing fully well. That means if you are the one who walked like the mystery gunman, you just walk to the studio and you announce now, as we are here, and I make an announcement of a change of government. How would it sound? And you know, I'm not in that position to do it or announce you. Ayodeji Otula is not the governor. That is, you know what it takes. It borders on a felonious act, wanting to subvert the will of the people, and the extent of going against the Constitution, Section 1, Subsection 2, that says that is you are subverting the democracy itself.
These are very serious issues. INEC has worked hard in conjunction with the National Assembly. We saw the 8th Assembly too during the time of Bukola Saraki. Of course, the president refused to assent to those amendments to the Electoral Act. But of course, we saw the 9th Assembly do that successfully. But it looks like the politicians and the band of saboteurs, like you say, are in the electoral terrain too. They are ahead of the law. Are they ahead of the law? The criminals.
Criminals are always ahead of the law. So you make law to cover the gap. That is it. You don't have to overflog the matter.
What areas now does the National Assembly need to look at to cover this gap? This gap we have seen. We thought it was Uhuru with the 2022 Electoral Act, but it is looking like it is not yet Uhuru.
It's just difficult to prove a petition. Why? Because in some places, with the advent of BVAS, that is bimodal voters accreditation system, we thought we had arrived. Yet people had subverted that particular process too.
Which subversion did we?
So in some places they did not what? They did not even use it.
But if they didn't use it, those elections are subject to.
But have they been cancelled? When you have sweeping powers in most cases, you will be surprised at the revelations that will come out at the level of what? At the level of the tribunal. So let us just...
Labour says it has 13,000 polling units to prove that.
So let us see the way. They might not be able to prove it, but those things could have happened. Those things could have happened. But you and I know that we're in a country where everything is possible.
When you say anything is possible,
everything.
Now, that was going to be the standard procedure. Beavers must be used. We didn't hear complaints about beavers not functioning. So that means beavers was bypassed. If beavers was bypassed and votes were recorded, of course, the votes that were recorded, copies must have been given to party agents there. If you go to a tribunal or electoral tribunal and the votes, and then you tally what you have on the beavers, it's not going to tally.
That's why people, those who go to the tribunals, always request for inspection and certified true copies. They do that with the view to establishing all those facts. It is too early to preempt those processes. We'll wait until those things are presented, they are argued before the tribunal, and rulings and judgments are given. It's after that we will now know how perfections or what level some changes should be made to that particular law. The criminals that subverted the process laws will now be made to
cover that gap.
That is it. So maybe because I'm from that side, the lawmaking side, you have to wait until all these things are made known to individuals, and that is when those who draft the law, the legal drafters, will know how to draft it and put this thing in place. Yet the criminals will study
and then
they will find a loophole and still continue. Life goes on. That is why criminals are never eliminated in any system. No, they are never eliminated.
Now,
so you just use laws to restrain them.
To restrain them,
and
so that they won't
destroy
society.
That is it.
The electoral processes, I keep saying this, that safeguarding. If we are going to safeguard democracy in Nigeria, we have to safeguard the electoral processes. And it looks like INEC was saying game changer. One of the issues is the uploading real time. Does that, in what you call human error, does that put question marks enough to invalidate that presidential election result?
Not at all. You see, when it is game changer, yes, it is indeed, or it was indeed a game changer. Why? Because pre-advent of beavers, we had close to about 48 million. They claim we had 48 million voters in 2019. They claimed we had. But with this now,
876.
Altogether, did we have up to 30?
No.
It's a game changer. It has reduced the level of atrocities people used to commit. It has, one way or the other. You see, I was privileged to visit Ghana. I won't, maybe precisely around 2010 or 2010, when they had that election that brought in Professor John Kufuor of blessed memory.
Yeah.
And I found, how did you get this? There were no violence and thuggery. We didn't see that happen in Ghana. Accra, I was in Accra. I was there to also see things by myself. And then I was opportune to be with the likes of Baba Obasanjo, Salif of Liberia, that woman,
the president.
Yeah. So, and Gowon himself, the old horse, Gowon. We didn't see violence. And the questions were asked, how did you come to this level of sanity, peaceful conduct of individuals? There was no contest between the party agents disagreeing with an individual with a card, whether he or she had come of age. And they say, yes. The Ghana Electoral Commission called all who is who or the stakeholders and asked them, do you want us to perform? They said, yes, we want you to perform. We have to begin from cleansing the voters register. You know what politicians do with voters register? They will even go and register somebody who had not been born, who will never be born, and somebody who had died severally, and conjecture names to fill in the what? The voters register. So all parties agree that this thing had to be removed. We have the process in Nigeria, and that is what they call AFIS, Automated Fingerprint Identification System, that if you have done multiple registration and they use that software, it will only identify one and throw away as many registrations you have done. But people don't use finger again, they don't use their thumb, they use all other fingers to thumbprint, as people still have as many as 10 cards. Whether they were able to use it or not is another thing. I don't know whether you understand.
We have that
number of registrants. You are saying 93 million people registered. I know of a particular local government in this Oyo state that had a population as of 2006, the last population census, of 198,000, and they claim to have 142,000 registrants, which is even against the United Nations. I say 45% of the population is eligible to what? To vote. 45%. What is 45% of 198,000? Is it up to 142,000? No. We have to tell ourselves the truth if we want to move forward. So all politicians, even the electorate, will have to agree that the registration, voters register must be cleansed, not cleaned, but cleansed. Whatever it takes us to, of course, then we now have a very clean one. After it has been cleansed, we will now have a clean one. On the basis of that, that is when election, politicians will tell you, election begins from registration, and that is what they mean when they utter that statement. How many people are registrants here? What is the capacity of that particular polling unit? 700. They will target 700 because they can easily write 670, leaving 30 for any other person. But when we have that process of beavers, let us see how 670 out of 700 will come out and queue.
So it's a good beginning.
It's a game changer. But when it comes to our the so-called uploading, that is where you have problem. Nigerians, not only Nigeria, even in Kenya, we applaud Kenya electoral system, yet it was attacked. It was attacked. So, and the Ministry of Economy and said they had, is it 12 million or 1.2 million attack during that period. People have advanced technologically.
Was there a mismanagement of information?
No. If
the INEC was not forthcoming.
Yes, I will tell you this. They said they told, in fact, a party agent said when they went for stakeholders meeting with INEC, they told them they will not do it.
They told them they will not do it?
They will not do it. They didn't come out to tell you.
Yeah, but that means that's why I said INEC mismanaged information. People's expectations.
No, you see, it is INEC that is at the center. They could not do better than that.
That was our reality.
That is, they could not do better than that. But for those who attended that stakeholders meeting, they came out to say yes, they did tell them that such a thing will not happen, and it did not happen. But like they say in Yoruba, that is why it is like that. It has to bear the brunt. The criticism, the burden, the slant, the whatever this law, let it bear. So, but what we know is that even in America, you know, Donald Trump also claimed that some people, you just press a button for Trump and it will just read Biden. You remember all those things. They know what they do with it. Like they say in Yoruba, if you spit on the ground and you use your feet to rub it, it's because you know the value of your saliva. Ẹni tó tutọ́ sílẹ̀ tó fẹsẹ̀ rà òun ló mọ iye wọ́n fi tọ́ sí o.
Politicians seem to
No, let us. That is why, and noise making is part of the game. So if you know how to make noise very well, people listen to you.
Loud.
And we have so many. Joseph Goebbels, the minister of propaganda during the Hitler time,
Goebbels.
had come. We have so many of them now, and he said when lies are repeatedly told,
they sound like the truth.
They become the truth.
Yeah.
No, they sound like they become the truth. They become the truth.
Yes.
So, but one day we'll get there. Well, let's pray we'll get there.
I mean, if you say Beavers has played a role, then we are on the way. Well, sir. It's been a pleasure having you with us live in the studio again. This is the first time we are here together since the elections. And of course, as things proceed, we'll be having conversations like this. Well, listeners and viewers, Solutions 93.9 FM is the station, and of course, it's been Political Update this afternoon, like we do it every Thursday. Well, I had in the studio with me in conversation regarding the elections, especially the 2023 election, especially the Adamawa, the primaries that were conducted, more specifically the Adamawa primaries, and of course, the implications of all of this for Nigeria's electoral landscape. My guest has been a former member of the Oyo State House of Assembly, former member National Assembly, House of Representatives specifically, and also a legal practitioner and a political gladiator. Need I say more? Honorable Larry Aguru. Thank you so much for joining.
I wish I was.
It's an idea Judge of God presenting and producing me has been favor Oloruntola. God bless you. God bless our union. Bye for now.
Keep it 93.9.
Get ready to go into space as Blink's event of work